All right, everyone, welcome back. We're going to take a look at psychic imprinting, looosh farming, energy plucking. As we're going to see in this video, this guy is an energy plucker. He's going to pluck away the looosh from you. That's the actual methodology going on here. I've been hearing a lot about imprinting a lot. It seems to be a phrase coming out of the ether as of late, and I can't really escape it either. I open up books and it's there. So we're going to take a little deep dive into that as well after. So yeah, let's just take a look at Russell Brand's cousin here. He's going to pluck you.
If this video has reached you right now, then chances are that you have picked up on someone else's energy. Now, this can sometimes happen when you connect with someone and you stare into their eyes, because the eyes is a gateway to their soul. So when you are connecting with someone, there's a chance that you can take on someone else's energy.
It's called the evil eye. Okay, I know that the New Age does not like to attribute anything negative to anyone. Negative tensions are just a misunderstanding of someone's point of view to them, but it's called the evil eye.
Sometimes this can even happen without you even realizing. Thankfully, there's tools that you can use to help you through the process of cleansing and protecting yourself from other people's energy. I'm here to help you to
I apologize for the music. It's going to be backmasked into some sort of hertz-like frequency that's going to be disarming you. So just be aware of that. The best way to protect yourself against these loose farmers is to be consciously aware of all the tactics that they're using against you. And the music is one of them. And just the entire get up in general, you know. He is Messiah maxing, right?
detach and to disconnect from other people's energy so you can be united and one with yourself without any interference. I have been sent by the divine universe to help to pluck and pull out
Pluck.
anything from within you or around you that no longer.
He's going to pluck you. And the divine universe, again, very ambiguous terminology being used there, is guiding him to pluck you.
Needs to be there. If you're new to this channel, my name is Michael and I practice Universal Life Force Energy Healing, also known as Reiki. Now, if you accept.
All right. I got some stories about Reiki for you guys. I mean, probably can't get into it all here right now because we have other topics at hand, but I knew a boomer Reiki psychic, and she was clearly possessed by some sort of entity. I mean, you guys wouldn't even believe me even if I told you. So, I mean, I don't even know. I got so many stories that I could tell, but no one will even believe me if I told them. It's just unbelievable. But I mean, I'm too embarrassed to even like admit what was going on with this lady. So, like, I don't even know what to say about it other than it was just completely off the wall, and these Reiki people are just, I don't know what they're tapping into.
This energy healing today to help to remove other people's energy from you, then all you need to do is simply nod or say I accept. Let's begin.
Okay, he is going to be like putting his hands and crystals into your face just to give you a heads up. Like, here's the deal. You don't need anybody to do this to you. You don't need anybody's cleansing. You have the power within your own self. These people are just, it looks like they're projecting onto you, but they're actually sucking out of you. Okay, they're pluckers and they're suckers, and that's their MO. It's this spiritual instant gratification culture where you think that you're just one session away, you're just 1 degree away, you're just one Reiki level away from unlocking your manifestation abilities. Guess what? That's not how it works, okay? You got to do the work yourself. Okay, Mr. Reiki boy here isn't doing anything. He's just siphoning off of you, keeping you emotionally dependent on his video so he can get that looosh.
The crystal I am using today is a green fluorite. This crystal will help to ignite and to align your heart's energy center. When you connect with your heart's energy center, you then align and shift into the vibrational frequencies of unconditional love.
I don't want to love anybody unconditionally, especially people I don't like. There's a great quote from the Havamal, and it says there's a few different translations, but generally it's translated into when you see evil, speak against it and give no quarters to your enemies. So there was a concept of evil even amongst the Norse. Sometimes it's translated into misdeeds as well. So there's a morality, and this is where I kind of see the New Agers and the Sinisterists actually like hand holding. Funny enough, because they both don't believe in the concept of right or wrong, and in the New Age sense, it's because everything is essentially love, and in the Sinisterist category would be essentially everything is permitted because of your own ego, of your own ego desire. So they're actually a lot more alike despite their aesthetic dichotomy going on.
Unconditional love is the most powerful and potent vibrational frequency that exists in all that is.
I like the
It
chuckle after.
has the
Like
power
they always have to chuckle after because they don't believe it. I mean, get this freaking crystal out of my mind, dude. What are you doing?
to manifest anything instantly.
Again, instant gratification. You can manifest anything instantly. You're not going to have to will your way into it. You're not going to have to put in the work. You're not going to have to put in the refining and the forging and the grind. As much as I don't like this grind culture, but it's a slow grind. It's a relaxing grind. It's a grind that takes time. It's not instant. It's a journey. It's a refinement. You have to galvanize yourself.
And in this case, I'm helping you to manifest protection through love.
No. Okay, like I got another video in the works too about this kind of being paranoid about entities and whatnot. You don't want to love your way out of protecting yourself against the Jotuns and the Archons and the goblins and all those things that are about. You have to steel yourself against them.
It is time to remove
We're
anything
not watching the
out
whole
of your
thing.
life
Okay.
and reality that does not need to be there. I call upon your spirit team, and Archangel Michael to be present.
Yeah, Archangel Michael. Archangel Michael is like the patron deity of Reiki. Again, back to the Reiki boomer that I had an experience with, contact with before. They also invoked Archangel Michael, which is very odd to me because that's a Christian entity and they don't really align with this type of stuff. But I think it's like a smoke screen tactic. You know, it just sounds nice, Archangel Michael. Okay, it's like a fanciful name that you can invoke to dissipate any fears or anxieties that people on the fence would have. Okay, Archangel Michael, people probably remember that name from like a church service, so they just kind of throw it out there. Um, but I don't really trust that type of just hail marrying, throwing up haymakers of just random angels.
Through this healing, may they assist you energetically with removing other people's energy. I will now proceed to pull out and remove other people's.
How many bracelets is enough bracelets? Okay, eventually the energies of all these stones are just going to cancel each other out, and you're just you're in a void. Too many different harmonies are transposing against each other, and it's just going to create a catalyst, and you're just basically nowhere at that point.
Energy from you.
And he's not wearing shungite, guys, so you know he's not that advanced. Okay.
Please take a big deep breath in and out.
Right. Okay. So the plucking is actually stealing your energy because he invoked the trauma within you by referencing a person whose energy is stuck within you, and that creates a resonance in you that brings forth that person. And obviously, it's going to be the most pertinent person to your own problems at the moment. Okay. And that's going to create the loosh in your aura. And right now, he's like sucking up the loosh like a milkshake. He's very happy about it too. Your hand out of my freaking face, bud. Man. Okay. We get the gist of it, right? There's a lot of these energy pluckers around. Okay, this is I thought this girl was like a Hyperborean. This is the runes, right? She got the runes. Right. She's got the Sig rune right there. Uru's on her. Othila. You think that she would be Hyperborean, but she's not, okay? She's loosh farming me right now. I feel like this person was specifically constructed for people like us by some sort of archonic Jotun. Okay, I mean you're disarmed. There's runes. The TWAS is right here, and my blood memory's activated. So I'm like, oh, okay, here we go. And lo and behold, I'm being siphoned. being siphoned. Right? I feel the pull. I feel the pull. Like I'm already getting. You guys even saw me blank out there for a second. All right, I'm being drawn in. All right, I gotta get out before I'm imprinted. She's imprinting me. I need to escape the imprint. All right, I think there's a lot of people here. They figured like they're constructed some sort of cloning facility or genetic engineering hub where they make these types of people for the people they want to be imprinted. So I'm sure, like, just scrolling down here, like it's kind of like your own joy bot they're making. Okay, a joy bot designed to siphon you. And if anyone likes like the Latinas, all right, this is the Latina looosh farmer. Oh my! Oh, all right, you're being just all right. If any ladies out there like uh bald bald boy, you get the purple Lost in Vacation correspondence here. Get some more purple. All right, toxic energy and darling. Right, just siphoning you. Purple. Your aura is just being like she's just like you think that's not cleansing you, man. Stay away from darling. All right, maybe you're into darling. Okay, Nubian queen. Of course, she's got the purple. She's not a one of the Nubian queens who is allied with us, obviously. She has a different allegiance going on here. She has a wand.
Self-hate. No. We're just going to take that and plug it
Okay.
away.
She's got tongs. Okay, she's even more advanced than the other. She's got it down to a science. She's got tongs that are just here to just take that looosh out of you and
Plug.
absorb it.
Feeling like someone is better than you. Plug.
All right, nose rings. Like the other people have nose rings as well. 340, man. 3 million views. Think of all the looosh. Think of it all. Look, and that's just women. Lots of women. Women are very vulnerable, clearly, to this type of thing. They think that some sort of, you just instantly get the ability to level up and cleanse your aura instead of actually, putting in the work. All right. Anybody want to make a YouTube channel? Just make like a Hyperborean ASMR style. I don't know what it is about ASMR. I have to do a deeper dive into that. I don't know why it's so popular. There's gotta be something else going on here. I haven't actually even thought about it that much. That will have to be on the agenda to see what. Man, we're 20 minutes in. I haven't even got to the Professor Hyperborean lecture right now. Okay, who's this? Isha. Okay, we got Ishtar here. Ishtar. She's casting some sort of magical spell.
Hi guys.
What's she got? She got pluckers. She's brushing. Brushing the looosh off. Okay. Should comb. What the heck is this? Oh man. Ouch. See? So this is for your the corresponding chakra. So this is the root chakra that she's trying to absorb. Okay, it's that color. So each one of these colors is the specific chakra she's trying to loosh farm. Pluck. What is this plucking? I mean, I'm going to be honest, I kind of just stumbled upon this today. And I know there's something going on with the plucking. She has scissors. Okay. Here he is. He is like the Lord. He is Gandalf the cringe. And like I know I'm cringe too, but I lean into the my cringe is self-aware. I lean into it, okay? Um these people are just they think that they're better. They're higher vibration. Dark energy to heal. Scissors. Oh, she's got the portal behind
This
her.
ASMR Reiki session is to help you relax and unwind and
I
just
don't feel relaxed.
remove.
I feel unsettled. I feel anxious. She looks like she could potentially be a gray. There's probably some sort of Palladian connection going on here. And I didn't realize how big this was. Okay, she's got the chakras, you know. So you get the root chakra. It's very odd shape there. Okay. Whoa. I mean, see? Brittany. Um, specifically designed for Hyperboreans to be siphoned by the Bene Gesserits, obviously. I mean, these are all Bene Gesserit. This is like a Bene Gesserit craft, what's going on here. And I guess they've devised this new art form of energy harvesting. Again, it's all the same. It's like a discipline. Purple. They use utensils. They got the nose rings. I mean, this is a hive mind.
Snip, snip, snip.
Snip. There's a lot of
She
cutting,
goes.
cutting going on here. They're cutting your cord, essentially. They're trying to cut your cord so you're vulnerable. And you gotta be careful. Okay, they're pointing crystals directly. I don't like having a sharp object pointed directly at my eyeball. I don't know about you guys, but okay, we got an elf maxer here. Okay, we got an elven chick here. What do we got? Travel roleplay. Tingly eye. Let me hypnotize you. Vampire roleplay. Are you kidding me? You have to click on that.
Sophie Michelle. A.S.
Alright.
Lost in your own world. It's
Blue
amusing,
charming.
really.
Energetic vampire.
I still
It's all the
cling
same thing, right?
to that excuse.
I already feel hypnotized. I can't let her speak. That is one of the lessons from LOTR that we have to take seriously is that you can't let them speak or they will cast a spell on you. Okay, we got a Nubian queen here for the Nubian boys. Everything, you know, every different flavor will find you, whatever your weakness is. You know, goth chicks, elf chicks, hyperborean, bald dudes. Abby. Okay. I think we get it. What's going on? We'll move on to our lecture. Okay. Reddit. This is for the Dalton. Everyone's at their own pond with their own net. He's in the Reddit pond. Oh man. Okay, this is kind of just happened today, so we will come back and we will do a deeper dive on all of this because there is more going on here than just my initial intuition analysis. Okay. All right. I should have put energy plucking in here. Imprinting, dark alchemy, monarch programming. Imprinting is and as a tool of control. Imprinting is at the heart of both monarch programming and the Bene Gesserit methods. The savior rescuer dynamic emerges as a natural consequence of this deep rooted conditioning. All three revolve around creating a loyal, compliant individual through strategic bonding and control trauma bonding. Like those influencers, Teal Swan, for example, she uses trauma bonding as a form of psychic imprinting. And this trauma bonding makes you feel tied to her in a certain way and also puts you into your own emotional state where you can be more easily imprinted by her ideals. So that's what's going on here with the Bene Gesserits. They use trauma bonding as a form of imprinting, and then they seed their ontology, like, all is love, raise your consciousness, manifest instantly. Of course, there's natural imprinting in animals. Imprinting occurs during a critical development window and it creates a bond that shapes future behavior. So a duckling. If you put let's say, a action figure of Optimus Prime in front of a duckling when it's first hatched instead of its mother, it will be imprinted onto that Optimus Prime action figure, and it will think that it's its mother. Psychological imprinting in humans often happens during childhood, the most formative years when trust and loyalty are established. Unfortunately, this can lead to you being imprinted on a Bene Gesserit or some sort of witch doctor, and then you end up doing ASMR for a living. Psychic imprinting revolves around the idea that intense emotional or spiritual energy can become embedded in a physical or metaphysical environment. This can occur in several ways. Yeah, so you don't just get imprinted by a person, you can get imprinted by a place. An excellent example of this is Shining. The hotel is psychically imprinting on the characters and driving them insane. Okay. So just imagine the hotel, but there's people like that and they're walking around. Monarch programming, trauma and savior complex. This is relevant because imprinting is a part of the monarch schema. Monarch programming uses trauma to break down the mind, creating fragmented identities, alters. The savior rescuer dynamic is essential to cementing control over the victim. Now, typically, I would say that this dynamic breaks down. The savior programming is used for the men, and the damsel in distress programming is used for women. Not always. There are cases where it's not that, but typically that's what you see. How it works: trauma induction. The victim undergoes severe abuse, causing disassociation. Again, this does not have to be completely tied within Hollywood and elite spheres. These are also family dynamics, these are school dynamics, these are even friendship dynamics, because this way of operating is so pervasive that everyone has subconsciously picked up these behaviors and also project them onto other people. So you can become an unconscious handler. Rescue and comfort. The same handler or designated figure rescues the victim, creating an imprint that the savior is the only source of safety. Also, once somebody's imprinted, you can't really ever do anything against them. You're kind of in a stasis where you're always at their mercy. Imprinted dependency: the victim is shattered by trauma and forms a deep psychological bond with the handler. This bond is often irrational but unbreakable, right? You're in a stasis, you can't leave. Trigger mechanisms: handlers can activate programmed behaviors through specific triggers that were embedded during the imprinting process. I feel like I can deeply relate to this. I have alters for sure that it's like you're watching somebody else behave. It's not, you act in ways that are beyond your control, and it's cringe and it's embarrassing, but there is some sort of, I know, like, conservatives have taken the word trigger and made it into a joke, but there is some sort of triggering aspect to the alter taking over. Specifically, I have some sort of rage alter. I don't want to sound like a edgy trench coat type of guy, but there's some sort of rage alter going on within my psyche. Symbolism of the savior. Handlers position themselves as both destroyers and saviors, ensuring the victim associates pain and relief with the same person, right? Getting to someone sort of time loop with these dynamics, and it's just the same thing over and over again. This creates a trauma bond where the victim feels that only the handler can provide solace from the very pain they inflicted. The programming ensures and obedience through fear, love, and dependency, a twisted form of imprinting. Now, I know a lot of the channel I focused a lot on millennial dynamics because I'm an older gentleman, and I call back to things I saw with the Hollywood programming, but we're kind of pretty much beyond that. I mean, it's still lingering around, but that's not the main media format anymore. The main media format is the algorithm. It's social media, it's YouTube, and that stuff is imprinting onto you. Monarch programming as inverted alchemy. In the ancient Hermetic tradition, alchemy is the spiritual refinement of the self, the great work, magnum opus, not to be confused with the Crowleyan great work. I mean, he just plagiarized that term. The stages of alchemy: negrito, albedo, citrinitas, and rubido, are symbolic of spiritual transformation, a journey from chaos and impurity to divine integration. Negrito, negrito. is the first stage of alchemical transmutation, the death of the old self, the descent into the shadow where impurities rise to the surface. It is a sacred breakdown meant to purge the ego and illusion, preparing the soul for integration. The dark night of the soul, if you ever had one, you know what I'm talking about. And just so that you know, even if you've had a dark night of the soul, you're going to have another one and it's going to be worse. Okay. It keeps getting darker. But I guess the silver lining is that the the process, the stages that occur after that become more and more refined and more powerful in each dark night cycle. In monarch programming, the sacred stage is perverted rather than a chosen descent into the shadow. Trauma is imposed violently or subconsciously or programmed into you. Doesn't necessarily have to be you're being electrocuted. Shattering the ego before the individual is ready. Instead of leading into catharsis or insight, the negrito is stalled, held in a loop of endless fragmentation. Trauma loop, okay, plays over and over again in your mind. The individual does not emerge refined, they emerge fractured. Their soul is reduced to symbolic ashes, waiting to be recast in the handler's image. We'll get into that. They mold you into their own programming subsect. We've gone over it. We've gone over delta. We've gone over beta. And there's even others like gamma as well. This is not alchemy, but anti alchemy, a mockery of spiritual refinement, where conscious awakening is replaced by submission. The esoteric mechanics of the fractured soul, the handler as the false alchemist. In true alchemy, the self is the alchemist, guided by blood memory, intuition, divine spark, and vril. Okay, your blood memory unlocks, and you start to go down this journey. You're behind the steering wheel. You're the one taking the steps, going on the journey. However, in Monarch, the handler becomes the false god, one who takes the shattered pieces of the soul and reconstructs them according to their own blueprint. The victim's will is not reborn, it is rewritten. You essentially no longer have a will, you become a golem. Or an NPC, or a Hylic, whatever term you like to use. Golem is relevant. But honestly, I think that some people are so beaten down, and again, like as I said earlier, turn to ash. I think I am not an absolutist in the metaphysical world either. I'm a metaphysical relativist. I believe in the inequality of the soul and potentially even the mortality of a soul. I don't think it necessarily is a written law, an eternal law that says that you are going to be eternal. I think if you become such a golem that that soul can fade, and then you just have flesh. You have a flesh golem. There's no more divine spark. There's no more blood memory. You're golem. And a golem in Jewish mysticism is an artificial man animated by sacred words but lacking a soul of its own. Okay, the Golem of Prague. The Golem of Prague is an essential reading for any Hyperborean. And if you've ever been to Prague, I mean, it is a alchemical hub. it's a very mystical place. There's like, I don't know, there must be like a bunch of ley lines converging there because there's some sort of power. Was the seat of the Holy Roman Empire for a very long time, even though, it's not typically it's not in the Germanic heartland. It's on the periphery of the Germanic world, but yet was the Holy Roman seat of power. So what does that tell you? The monarch victim becomes a kind of psychic golem animated by external triggers, programs, and scripts, no longer a sovereign being. So if you ever fall into some sort of altered state and you say or you do something that you don't want to, you regret, you hate the fact that you did this thing, it's because at some point trauma caused a fracturing within your psyche, and then depending on some sort of script or trigger, you shift into that altar. They move, speak, and serve, but do not choose. Their actions are conditioned responses to symbolic commands. It's the typical NPC stuff. I think there's like levels to it. There's like an NPC, and then I think a golem would be something even, you know, an NPC is just like a non sequitur, whereas a golem is actually acting in accordance to somebody else's will and commands. The metaphor of the golem illustrates how the soul's sovereign animating force is replaced by ritualistic programming and by words of power spoken by another. The inversion of the blood memory. In Hyperborean traditions, there is a belief that the human soul carries a divine pattern, a blueprint connected to the cosmos. Modern programming aims to erase the blood memory through trauma. Okay? If you can't connect with your ancestors anymore, you're done. You're done. Replace it with a system of symbolic, ritualistic, and behavioral scripts. Right? This happens, and then you react in that way. Or you see that symbol or a cult symbol, and that gets implanted and then printed on your psychology, on your subconscious over the years. And when these symbols hit you, you start to maybe have a mood change, maybe act in a different way. It doesn't have to be some extreme Manchurian candidate, cartoonish type of reaction. It can be very subtle. Hijack the soul's energetic pathways for external use, sexual energy, creative potential, loyalty. Okay, beta programming comes to mind. Fragmentation and archetypal imbalance. Trauma causes the psyche to split into parts. Instead of uniting these parts into a harmonious whole, modern programming isolates them, assigning each alter a role, code, and trigger. Maybe that is why this whole trigger warning thing got so made fun of and mocked and ridiculed. Is because there could potentially be some sort of trigger aspect going on with this stuff, and they kind of just want to make it look silly. Typical cuck behavior, never diving deeper, always a surface level analysis with those types of people. The individual becomes a living tarot deck, shuffled and drawn at the whim of the handler. Okay, now we're getting into the good stuff. I know I talk about Dune a lot, right? I honestly think that, okay, so Frank Herbert was a psychic. Um, there was an instance where he had a deck of cards and he guessed every card in the deck of card twice in a row as they pulled up. So I think he was definitely tapped in to something, and I see Dune as a reality map. So I like to use a lot of Dune terminology to illustrate dynamics that are happening in this world because I think it is one of the best ways to try to convey what I'm pointing out. Okay. So Monarch programming, yeah, it's kind of like a baseline. It's like a baseline template. Bene Gesserits know people on a very individual basis. Let's just put it that way. Okay, how it works: target selection. The Bene Gesserit choose influential men. I should have wrote or potentially, because it's not about the influence of that time, it's the potentiality of their influence. That's the key. Who can further their plans? Erotic imprinting. Using carefully honed skills, they create an intense, intimate connection that leaves the target emotionally attached and loyal. And once you're imprinted on them, you can't really do anything against them. Um, the new Dune movie sucked, but one aspect they got right was that Fade is sexually vulnerable, and they use that against him to control him. And then they got that hot girl, that hot French girl, to you know, seduce him. Um, that movie's terrible, by the way. I mean, the fact that okay, so Channy embraces this is a tangent. Channy embraces the fact that she's a concubine. That's her whole arc, and of course, that can't be an arc in this day and age. Okay, she embraced the concubine within. Voice and presence. The use of the voice to control combined with their mastery of body language. This ensures that the man feels rescued from loneliness or lust. Imprinting the Bene Gesserit as both lover and savior. Okay. They will appear wise, insightful, intellectually stimulating, even. Um, and it's true. They know how to talk, and they know what you're into, and they know how to get you that way. So that's how they work. Um, the thing about women is, like, I'm gonna be honest. Like, women do have an interesting perspective because they can see things that we can't. So you can kind of get enmeshed in their voice because they have high levels of perceptions in a certain field. Other fields are completely blind, but in certain fields, they have a higher level of perception than we do. So, and so they can convey a type of wisdom and pose as saviors in certain aspects. Long term manipulation. The bond persists even if the man rationally knows he's being manipulated. The emotional imprint is too powerful to break. Okay, like you ever been in a relationship you want to break up for like a long time and you don't? I've had a lot like that. Symbolism of the savior. The Bene Gesserit sister becomes replaceable. The man feels he, and by the way, I don't want to be like an I had sex type of guy. Even if you haven't had a relationship, these dynamics can still take place even in like the talking phase and whatnot. So it's all it's all the same, and no one is, you know, better off or worse off in this whole dynamic. The Bene Gesserit sister becomes irreplaceable. The man feels he cannot live without her influence. Like monarch programming, this imprint ensures compliance without overt force. Okay. You are bound. And I've seen it. People start living a lifestyle that they don't want to live at all. Or they're bound to somebody who doesn't have their best interests in mind. And they've captured them because they see the potentiality. And if they are higher level Bene Gesserits working for the system, they will hurt you in pretty terrible ways to ensure that your potentiality, if understood that it will not serve them, never comes to fruition. The difference lies in method and intention. The Bene Gesserit use pleasure and connection rather than trauma. Okay, they're not going to electrocute you. I mean, maybe if they suss out that that's what you're into, they will, but typically it's going to be love bombing and the voice. Okay, so the Bene Gesserit, Michael Tessarian has a wonderful presentation called The Female Illuminati. And that's also an essential view for anybody out there interested in this type of stuff. But yeah, it's more advanced than just the monarch template. This is about bloodlines and, you know, millennias, lineages, and ancestral imprinting. The Bene Gesserit believe that consciousness itself can be cultivated through genetics, creating generational evolution, and they want to curate consciousness. They want to establish its pathway. They want to ride it to where they want to go because consciousness can be shaped and molded and cultivated, and they're masters at it, and they've been um, engineering us for a very long time. By guiding bloodlines and selectively imprinting knowledge and skills, they aim to manifest a prophesied being, the Kwisatz Haderach, who can see the totality of human experience. Okay, like the Ubermensch. If they get there first, well, it's GG no re. Okay. If the Bene Gesserit Ubermensch appears, it's time to rage quit and log out. Alt F4, if you will. This is akin to the concept of genetic karma, where the deeds and consciousness of ancestors are encoded in the DNA influencing the descendants. This is Orlog, the Nordic concept of karma, which I tend to be more aligned with than the more Eastern sense of karma, where karma is more individualized and it's more your own journey. I tend to think it is more there's more than just the individual layer of karma. There's tribal karma, there's family karma, there's racial karma, and it all ties them together. The spiritual role of the Kwisatz Haderach. In metaphysical terms, the Kwisatz Haderach represents a union of masculine and feminine principles. Ah, so there we go. The ability to bridge the unseen and seen, the rational and the intuitive, right? Baphomet, the Yachim and Boaz, the checkerboard floor. It's about unifying the polarity of masculine and feminine into one. Okay? The Bene Gesserit are not just breeding a leader, but a living archetype that can lead humanity through the crisis of its own evolution and their own freakazoid framework. Their manipulation reflects the ancient idea that wisdom must be cultivated, not just inherited. Right? Except they are doing it in their own way. And we don't really have. I mean, we do, but they're like living in the South Pole right now. And they're shy. The Bene Gesserit practices are a dark reflection of spiritual cultivation, where control replaces enlightenment and destiny is manufactured rather than embraced. Okay, here's how they imprint. The methodological approach to imprinting. The Bene Gesserit do not rely on brute force or trauma to create loyalty. Instead, they strategically choose targets who hold political, social, or military potential power, ensuring that their efforts yield long term influence or they derail the potential. Identify key figures who have the correct bloodlines, social positions, or future potential. That aligns with their long term plans. These men are often powerful, charismatic, or capable of producing important offspring, right? The aim is to establish a bond that influences both the man and his descendants. So the Bene Gesserit, they wife up. They will wife you up, and that's what happened in Dune. Well, they didn't get wiped up. I mean, Jessica was also a concubine and embraced her role as such, and so did Chani. And then now in the new and improved version, the end of Dune is Chani leaving Paul and going on a hissy fit in the desert like that. That's just absurd. The target selection process is not arbitrary, it is rooted in the sisterhood's eugenic and political strategy. This is where blood memory comes into play. The Bene Gesserit seek to shape future generations through carefully chosen genetic unions. Okay, they use erotic imprinting, a calculated process where they seduce the target, creating an intimate and emotionally intense connection. This imprinting process is not just about sexual attraction, it involves physical intimacy, psychological seduction, right? Making this is the voice, making them feel understood and validated, spiritual bonding, appearing as both a lover and a guide, almost mystical in presence. Okay, that's why you see them on the algo with their tarot cards, with their plucking. No, they're plucking and they got the algae's rune. I mean, tattoos are like, come on. Like, why would you have a tattoo in 2025? If you want to actually be a rebel, you don't have tattoos now. But yeah, tarot cards, loose farming, that's what they do. They are a guide. The target does not just desire the Bene Gesserit sister physically. He feels emotionally dependent on her, as if she fulfills a long unspoken void. And you know what? That void won't be filled by one of them. Okay, the voice is a hypnotic technique that the Bene Gesserit use to compel obedience. All right. It works by mimicking the subconscious cues of the listener, a modulating tone and inflection to tap into deep seated instincts of submission and compliance. I mean, they know the tones, right? They know how to use their voice. They can make it shrill, or they can make it velvety. They have a good control. Body language, of course. I mean, masters of that as well. The illusion of authority and nurturing, making the man feel as though the Bene Gesserit is both savior and lover. Okay. Rescue savior dynamics. The sister becomes irreplaceable because she embodies both fulfillment and guidance. The man becomes addicted to her pleasure, not because he is weak, but because he associates her with safety and pleasure. All right. Yeah, you get too comfortable, let's say. Too comfortable. Unlike demonic programming, which uses fear to create obedience, the Bene Gesserit use pleasure and connection, forming a psychological bond that feels voluntary even though it's not. Okay, they engineer entire bloodlines. The goal is to embed loyalty and genetic potential into future generations. They're crafting us. They're crafting us into, well, I think they're crafting us back into, in my perspective, they want us to go back to the matristic blood type that the men that they ruled over back in the old world, which means that the Hyperborean bloodline is on the chopping block. The man is deeply imprinted, often remains emotionally loyal even after realizing the manipulation. The offspring of such unions are often raised in an environment where reverence for the mother is intertwined with political loyalty. Okay. There's a lot of matriarchal culture still around, and I mean, look at Korea. Look at South Korea. It's just the 8 sisters who rule that country. I mean, this stuff is happening everywhere. South Korea is literally run by a Bene Gesserit cult. Okay, and so are the Kabbalists, right? Um, it's everywhere. The blood memory carries the imprint of loyalty and admiration, passing down through generations, much like a genetic encoding of allegiance. Yeah, so you're going to be loyal at the genetic level. once they have their way. I mean, obviously, if you're here and you made it this far in, you're not that. You have the blood memory, be you Hyperborean or Lemurian or Turian or Atlantean or a Yomon. Maybe there's some Yomons listening. The Bene Gesserits understand that loyalty can be inherited if it becomes part of the emotional and psychological upbringing of the descendants. Okay, the worst fate that can befall a man is having a Bene Gesserit mother, because then you're just in it on day one. All right, let's end it off here. Liberation from dark alchemical imprinting. To reverse dark alchemical imprinting, one must recognize the false savior, understand that not all rescue is liberation. Okay. Somebody comes out of the woodwork when you're at your lowest of the low. They sense that you're vulnerable and they want to loose charm you. Integrate fragmented archetypes. Acknowledge the parts that were conditioned to serve and reclaim their autonomy. Once you realize that you have alters or fractures, or you know, once you acknowledge and consciously make yourself aware that you might be in this dynamic, it's a lot easier to start integrating it. And the rage, if you resonate with that alter, it has a use. It goes all the way back to the berserkers, but again, it has to be controlled. When it's not controlled, it's really not good. Reconnect with ancestral memory. Practice rituals to cleanse blood memory, breaking inherited patterns of submission. I can't tell you what that's going to be. It's going to be depending on your own journey. But and you know what? You don't need me to tell you that. Like, people are always looking for the exact formula, the exact this, the exact that. Like, you have to craft that for yourself, and you will. Self sovereignty rituals. Okay. I am a free man on the land. I am lowercase Hyperborean knowledge. And I am traveling, not driving. And so true alchemy is about integration and self sovereignty. Breaking free from dark alchemical imprinting requires restoring the fragmented soul to its original divine pattern and rejecting externally imposed transformations. Thank you, everyone, for listening. I hope you found some insights, maybe something in your own life path has been awakened, some dots have been connected. If that is the case, please let me know in the comments, and we will be back. Thank you.